Hey, what's up guys, it's ElasticSpyder here, and in today's video we've got something a little bit more mid-tier, and probably one of the more popular ships, or maybe unpopular ships that people have to play to get to the great US Tier 10 battleship, the Montana. So we're looking at the Colorado in today's replay, and for whatever reason I decided, well, it's been a while, a very long while since I've taken the Colorado out. Let's equip her with all the upgrades and then put some modules and a decent captain in her, and let's see how she performs. So for that captain, it's only a 10-pointer, which is pretty reasonable for a tier 7. Right now I've got priority target, adrenaline rush, superintendent, and concealment. Then a more full build would be AFT, basics of survivability, and then expert marksman. That's a nice solid build for American battleships regardless of what you run into. Additionally, you can get expert marksman first, because I know turning the turrets is a problem sometimes, and that's okay. I do like adrenaline rush quite a bit though. So that's my captain. My modules I have, or upgrades, I've got main armaments mod 1, damage control, AA range. You can also do plotting room, because sometimes just shy of 19-kilometer range is not very good, and people maybe want more. I think it's fine though, so I go with the AA range, and then damage control again for a little bit better survivability, especially now that I don't have enough high enough captain to get basics of survivability on this ship. So that's my build, and let's get into the replay now. So we are playing on the map Mountain Range. I spawned at A, and typically I would say go BC, go BC, go BC, but the Colorado just does not have the speed to get there. You know, it can go just slightly over 20 knots, and well, you're not getting anywhere fast. So one tip that a friend gave to me, who's very good and grinding some of the American battleships, or at least knows about the grind, is that in these slow, very slow dreadnoughts, a lot of times if you get positioned on a flank, it's either you're going to get rolled, either you roll them, or there's nobody there, and basically either way, a lot of times your games either end in a very quick demise, or sometimes maybe you'll get a ram off, or you'll hit a couple citadels, but for the most part you won't extend the life of your battleship and use it to its most potential. Now, with that being said, it is a good idea to kind of go always towards the middle a little bit. Now, I'm not saying just go in the middle and then just turn out a little bit and then you'll be fine. You can win all the games you want. No, I'm not saying that. I'm still tactically positioning myself to be in the fight, but far enough away from other, like any potential crossfires that I might have, that I'll still be safe. So, for example, here I'm pointing my butt towards the North Carolina and this other Colorado, and then I'm shooting at this Colorado. The only thing that could really hit me would be that Belfast, but he would have to get way out of position to actually hit me. So I'm not worried about that. So for all intents and purposes, this is a decent starting position. Now, a good follow-up position would either be to turn around like I'm doing and go support my team at A, or even supporting my team at B, but for right now it's pretty even. However, I'm going to keep my guns pointed to A, and I wish that this North Carolina would show up after 5 seconds. I could have shot and maybe gotten a citadel or a couple good pens, but unfortunately, because I don't have plotting room, and this is, I guess, the main argument for plotting room, is that I couldn't take that seemingly 19.5 20-kilometer shot that a lot of other battleships, like Japanese battleships, could make. I have to rely on my spotter plane every 3 minutes that I want to take a longer range shot. The downside to this, of course, is that you'll be spotted from a larger distance. Sometimes that might not be a big deal, especially for battleships, but it is what it is. So the Colorado, a lot of people don't really like this ship. I think my main gripe with it is, one, the guns. I don't really like 8 gun designs, at least in ships, World of Warships. They tend to be either have a higher caliber, which we have a 16-inch gun caliber on the Colorado, which is good. It's good for penetration. But the downside to this is, well, we've got bad dispersion. And somewhat bad sigma. I don't even want to know what it is, but because I don't actually know it off the top of my head. I probably should have looked that up beforehand. But either way, dispersion, I do have a number for with my build. It is 248 meters of dispersion. No real way to improve that. But with that being said, 248 isn't bad. Something like the Montana's sits right around there, a little bit higher, but that's a 12-gun battleship. This is only an 8. However, sometimes, at least from my experience in playing the Colorado a few times as of late, is that it's like a lot of battleships. It's either the dispersion is really good or the dispersion is really bad, and that leads to a lot of frustration, especially when you only have 8 guns. On something like a Montana, it doesn't really matter all that much because you got a lot of guns, and you can get more consistent damage. So here's another turning point. I can either go bow in and sit here and fire at this North Carolina, or I can turn out because I see that the Belfast is moving into position to either start shooting at me or starting to farm me, and you can see that there he's smoking up. So I make the decision to turn out and go dark. Except he sets a fire, which means that he's going to be spotting me for a little bit longer. Gonna wait until the last moment, see where he shoots, and then shoot where I think he might be, pop my heal, and then I should be safe. Not gonna pop my damage control. Looked like I aimed a little bit high there. Not gonna pop it. No point for 20 seconds left on the fire. I'll just let it heal back and get out of that Belfast's way. So again, very nice positioning here. Had I been more in the center of A, focusing those guys, then that Belfast would have full farmed me. But since I did put myself in a good position where I can get out of dodge without having to worry about using my speed to get me out of problems, I'm using good turning radius and good turning time, 640 meters and 16.1 second rudder shift time with my build. That's a solid. It's a solid numbers. Now, is it by any means good? No, but when positioned correctly, you can get some very nice, I guess maybe luck, but also you can position yourself for long extending your survivability. So with that being said, oof. Just barely missed that Citadel there on that Charles Martel. However, I think he looks like he might beach. Yes, he does beach. So this means I get another free shot. Lining up. Have to be careful sometimes with these French cruisers. Sometimes they back up so fast and they can accelerate quickly with their speed boost that sometimes you have to be careful. Again, like I said, dispersion looks good. And I get double Citadel with a single overpen and a kill on that Charles Martel, that tier 8 French cruiser. So very, very nice there. Again, positioning wise, I won't pause it here, but just quickly. So yeah, I'm showing a little bit of side to these guys, but they're outside of 20 kilometers. Any shot is going to be a good amount of luck. Putting this island between me and between myself and the Belfast, which is good. That Schornhorst and that Charles Martel, well, I was angling to them as well, so they're not going to do much there. So I get very nice angling here, at least I think so. And positional wise, it's not bad. Now, the one thing that I will say here is that I see that the Belfast appears that he is going to be coming over to A, and I'm going to confirm that in a second when I get spotted here. Now, the one downside, what I'm thinking here is, okay, well, I'm spotted. My AA, I'm detected by AA around 9.9. The Belfast has, I think, 8.7 kilometer concealment. So I'm just gonna charge him basically. And my first salvo, I get a nice Citadel for 16k. Now he's down to 10k. Now I fully expect him to smoke up at any point, and then basically use his radar if he's got any. And then I'm just gonna get full farm. So I'm gonna pop my spotter plane, and hopefully I'll get a little bit better idea of where he's shooting from. Now here would have been fine. I probably would have just gone dark, but one, he gets a fire, and then I also noticed right about now that the Colorado is actually pushing into A, so I'm going to be hard detected, so there's no point in me not shooting. Now this is where good players and bad players kind of get separated. So here, one thing I know is that this Belfast is moving in this direction. He's moving from right to left, which means he's reversing, which means he's also getting closer to me. So what I'm going to do is, well, the Colorado isn't looking at me, that's for sure, because I only have one targeting me. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push the Belfast smoke, because I don't know what his detection when firing in smoke is. It doesn't matter. Most light cruisers are above 4 kilometers, so as soon as I get within there, hopefully I'll survive. But that's all I have to do. Now, of course, if I could hit anything in smoke, and I'm having a hard trouble doing that with the dispersion and my poor aim, I probably could have killed this guy. But see, now he knows that he can't be shooting anymore because he'll get detected, so he's going to try to secondary me. But now he really knows he's screwed up, because now I've put the pressure on him, and, well, he gets spotted briefly, and I get the kill there. So, again, it didn't matter what his detection when firing in smoke was. I didn't know what it was. It didn't matter at the time. All I had to do was just get close enough for him to stop shooting. Of course, I also had to count on my teammates to kill that Colorado, but he was relatively low HP as well. So, in my opinion, that was a pretty hard outplay by that on that Belfast. Something that's, you know, a lot of players might have turned out, which could have been a good option. You would have dropped detection against that North Carolina, or against that enemy Colorado, but you might get set on fire, and then that sort of thing. In that situation, I think pushing that Belfast was actually a pretty good move. So, speaking of a little bit about the detection, the 14-kilometer concealment that you do have on the ship is quite good. I hate saying quite good, because it's always relative, right? But 14 kilometers allows you to get into decent positions and still have a little bit of a buffer between your gun range and detection. And that's another, I guess, another thing that you would say for the or another argument you would make for the plotting room, is that you'd extend that that gap between when you're spotted and what your actual gun range is. So, and that's a fair argument too. So here I slapped that Friedrich pretty hard. The first salvo, the second salvo, and third salvo weren't too good. Or the first one wasn't too good. The second was pretty good. The third one wasn't so good. The fourth one's not going to be much better. Now the HE isn't the best. I think it does around 4,500 HE damage, and it's got 34% shell chance of setting a ship on fire. It's not that good. I think sticking with the AP is still good, or good enough in this situation. Just trying to fire into that superstructure and hope for the best. Certainly, with 16-inch guns, you want to be shooting AP most of the time, especially when you get when you're top tier. Just because most ships at that tier don't actually have good enough. One, they don't have good enough battle armor to withstand you. That includes the battleships as well, except for something like the Gneisenau or Scharnhorst, so that you can overmatch pretty much any ship at your tier. But you also have the advantage of having good penetration with these 16-inch guns, which means that you can even citadel people at angles that you wouldn't expect to get citadeled at. One being, like I said, a good penetration, but also somewhat lack of armor. That is, if you can hit them. So with that, Friedrich killed. No, this Kitakazi's not going to appear again, so let's check out the post-battle results. Alright, boys and girls, we ended up with 120k damage, which for tier 7 is not outstanding, but it's a solid game. 4 citadels with 48 shell hits, 3 ships killed, a Confederate, 400 grand. Yeah, it's not bad. A good game overall, I think. 2028 base XP, like I said, 3 ships killed, topped the team as a bottom-tiered ship, which is not always easy to do, especially in the mid tiers, when you're going up against things like Friedrich. That, I mean, obviously probably could have killed me there had he decided to focus me, but whatever. Detailed report. It's going to be all AP damage. Potential damage not too high. Well, since it was a Belfast running IFHE, he's going to pen me up pretty much every single time. There's not much I can do about it, but I tried to counter him as hard as I could and as fast as I could. LOL. Nearly 80k damage received. I think I still had another heal or 2 up, so I could push that over slightly over 100 maybe. Nonetheless, a very nice game here, and then the credits and XP. Even without premium, we're making 200,000 credits, which is quite good, and 4,000 XP. But of course, I'm running premium. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative and maybe gave you a few extra tips for the Colorado, so that once you get onto the faster battleships like the North Carolina and Iowa, you have a much easier time. So hopefully, this video kind of gave you some good positional tips and just gameplay tips in general. So anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, guys, and I will see you in the next one.